Hey guys, welcome to another Responding Resourcing tutorial video. My name is Mikey Moore, lead singer of the Responding and worship pastor at Crossroads Community Church. Today we're going to be talking about how to have a thriving ministry in the midst of a pandemic and possibly right now in a shelter in place. So let's get right into it. So one of the first questions that I know I asked myself, and also I'm thinking you're going to be asking as well, is how to continue to build team culture in the midst of this situation. And the first thing is communication. You're going to want to continue to communicate vision during this entire process. Vision is what's going to keep people focused and have hope on the horizon of this crazy situation. Part of communicating vision during a time that you can't actually have physical connection with somebody is communicating through easy phrases that they can continually say that reminds them of the culture and the values that you've set for your ministry. Also, when you communicate with them, remind them constantly of the values that you hold as well as you have for them and you want them to hold. This is putting the Lord first, their family, their close friends, and then the ministry. Because during this time, connection is key, and you want them to be focused and keep the main things the main things. Not all the things that you were doing before the pandemic or the shelter in place can be adapted and changed to fit this new mold, but a lot of them can, and it takes sometimes a little bit of pressing in, critical thinking to innovate the ways you were already doing things and adapt them to the season you're in right now. But I want to encourage you, press in, don't give up, because as you find new ways to connect with your team, the team culture and the trust between you and your team will grow deeper and deeper, even through a time where you can't physically be with them. Here are a few things that I've used during the last time we were in a shelter in place that I think might help you connect with your team during this time. One of them being reading a book together. One of the best ways to unify your team is doing something all at the same time that you can discuss later. So read one chapter a week and then discuss it the following week, and this will bring unity to your team. Another way is to have team nights where you can communicate vision, you can give direction and updates as to what's going on, and you can also motivate them to continue to learn in their skill and in their craft as they go through this season, maybe physically distant. As we talk about communication and keeping connected with your team, there are a couple programs that will help you accomplish this. One of those being Zoom. Zoom is a great video program that you can use to have team nights where you can communicate vision and updates with your team, as well as show videos and play games with on that program. Another great tool is Slack for communicating with your team, but also allowing your team to communicate with each other. In Slack, you can create channels that are based for specific topics, such as shout-outs, uploading creative works that they're working on, but also asking for prayer. This is a powerful tool to help your team stay connected with each other as well as you. Another one is FaceTime. FaceTiming somebody, although it might take a little more time than a text, it has so much value because even though you can't be physically together, you can see each other's face. And when you do that, the value is added to that conversation just because you can see each other. So as we've been talking about communication and setting vision for your team and the different tools that you can use to communicate with your team, I also want you to know that as a worship pastor or leader, this is also a time to reflect and rest for you personally. Are there bad habits that you may have created in the last season that you know you need to break, but you haven't spent time to break them? Or are there new habits that you want to form, but you haven't had time to properly figure out the strategy to form those new habits? Well, this is a good time to do it because you're kind of basically by yourself this whole time, and you have time to refine and work on breaking and building new habits during this that you can bring into the season when you're all back together. It's also a time to develop new strategies for your team. Part of that is taking time to brainstorm through the thoughts and ideas that you've wanted to implement but you didn't feel like you had time to do. Well, now you do. I want to encourage you to take 1 hour a week to sit down with a notepad and think through different things that will help you brainstorm, develop, and reflect on new strategies. The amount of things that you will find that will change the game for your team is inevitable when you take the time to look for them. So make sure you spend time to brainstorm, develop, and reflect. So the next step is, after you've communicated with your team and you're continuing to develop your team by brainstorming, something you're going to want to do is have a call tree so that everybody in your ministry is being connected with via phone calls. So I want to encourage you, set up 5 to 10 leaders that oversee other volunteers, because this will help not have all the weight on you to call every single person in your team, especially if your team is large, but it will also give your leaders ways to step up in a leadership role, even though they can't be leaders physically here at the church during a service. All of the things that we've been talking about today during this shelter in place time is to help you grow as a leader and your team to continually grow. This season is not a time to stay stagnant, but it's a time to continue to push forward, even though it seems like a season that would hinder it. So take time to develop yourself and develop your team. Let me know during this time in the comments section what you've been doing to develop your team and develop yourself, and we can share with each other the many ways that we are all growing during this time. Thanks for checking out this responding resource and tutorial. I hope that this helps you figure out how to develop yourself and develop your team during this time. We have tons of other videos that you can check out on our channel, so make sure that you subscribe to it, as well as hit the notification bell so you can see exactly when we're uploading a new resource and tutorial. Until then, I'll see you guys soon.